Welcome to today's deep dive. We're unpacking a really detailed legal analysis to answer what I think is a pretty chilling moral and legal question. Can a criminal basically buy their way out of a prison sentence in India?
Yeah, it's a dark question.
Hmm.
We're digging into a 2026 Supreme Court judgment. It's Parameshwari v. the State of Tamil Nadu.
Hmm.
And you really have to look at the human story here, what happened on June 2009, to understand the stakes.
Right. So set the scene for us.
Well, there was this brutal armed attack. The attacker stabbed a man multiple times. We're talking chest, ribs, abdomen. Left him with life-threatening injuries. The trial court rightfully sentenced the attackers to 3 years of rigorous imprisonment for attempted murder.
And that's under Section 307 of the IPC, right?
Exactly.
Which sounds like the justice system functioning exactly as it should. 3 years for a near-fatal stabbing. But then we get the shocking twist at the Madras High Court.
Yeah, the attackers appealed. And when the case got to the High Court, they slashed that 3-year sentence down to a mere 2 months.
Wait, 2 months for a violent attempted murder? I mean, how does a court justify that?
They pointed to the calendar in a checkbook. They noted that 10 years had passed since the crime. And get this, the accused offered 1 lakh rupees to the victim's widow, Parameshwari.
So about 100,000 rupees.
Right. The High Court essentially decided that the delay, combined with this financial payout, warranted drastically reducing the jail time.
But wait, I mean, if the victim's family is being offered financial help after a decade of legal limbo, wouldn't a court want to encourage that kind of settlement just to help the family out?
You'd think so, but justice isn't a financial transaction. And Parameshwari actually refused to accept that premise. She spent a decade fighting for actual justice, taking the case all the way to the Supreme Court.
And the Supreme Court's reaction was fierce. They completely threw out the High Court's ruling.
Oh, they were furious. They called the High Court's leniency undue sympathy. They labeled the whole thing a travesty of justice. The justices even compared the High Court's logic to accepting blood money.
Which brings us to the core legal principle they cemented here, under Section 357 of the CRPC or 395 of the new BNSS.
The absolute rule is that victim compensation must operate strictly in addition to punishment. It can never be a substitute for it. A judge cannot look at a violent crime and decide a cash payout bypasses a prison cell.
Let's actually slow down the pace here for a second, because the Supreme Court didn't just scold the lower court. They laid out a specific 4-point test for legal sentencing. Point 1 is strict adherence to proportionality.
Meaning the punishment absolutely must fit the gravity of the crime, not the thickness of the defendant's wallet. Point 2, the court must look at the specific facts, the actual brutality of the incident.
Right, you can't process a grievous stabbing as abstract paperwork. And point 3 deals with public trust.
Yes. Excessively lenient sentences destroy society's faith in the justice system. If people see violent offenders buying their way out of jail, the system collapses.
And finally, point 4 is the careful weighing of aggravating versus mitigating factors.
And they were crystal clear on the delay argument here. The mere passage of time during a trial is absolutely not a valid legal defense for evading jail. Taking 10 years to process appeals doesn't magically make an attempted murder less severe.
So the high-impact takeaway for you listening is this reassurance that the Indian justice system does not allow wealth to override criminal liability.
And it serves as a strict warning to legal professionals. Relying on sympathy or complaining about trial delay without substantive legal grounding is no longer a viable defense strategy for serious offenses.
Parameshwari's decade-long fight proves that. But it does leave you with a final provocative thought to ponder. If financial compensation and imprisonment serve 2 entirely different legal purposes, how should the justice system adequately support victims when a guilty party is completely destitute?